Oh, there we go. And in theory.
Welcome everybody, welcome to the Dawn Chorus event on the first day of the 33rd Swindon Festival of Literature.
Like water, like the water that you heat for your bath. I'm selling you stories today. Maybe the story seller is a sponge.
And do you want to come and stand over here? You're going that way. Okay, and stop. Get your trainers on, Jake. Get your trainers on. Woo woo.
Park run for you, see? This is what happens at park run. People get to know and like and respect and love one another just by doing park run.
So we need to go in that direction and you'll be greeted by the two Anns. And because it's an unofficial run today, you can do what you like. Water run everyone! 3, 2, 1, go!
Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Art Centre of the 33rd Swindon Festival of Literature. Thanks very much for coming here. You said in the first half that literature can be exciting, moving and informative. And it is, isn't it? And I said to her, just you wait. So will you please join me in giving the Swindon Festival of Literature welcome to Natalie Haynes.
And at the point where the stroke becomes most narrow, it also gets deepest, and that's why you end up with all these whirlpools and eddies and things like that. So it would feel, if you were trying to row through it, which I imagine Bethany probably has single-handed, it would feel like the rocks themselves were moving because you would suddenly be pulled off in an unexpected direction, right? So a beautiful example of how myth maps onto geography to give you something which is sort of somewhere in between.
I met Russell at BBC Studios, where we were both invited on to talk on the Breakfast News show about the national rollout of arts on prescription throughout the NHS. And I asked Russell, how big a change do you believe those classes really made to you? And he didn't miss a beat. They saved my life. Can you imagine if a drug had the same catalogue of benefits as the arts? We would all be taking it every day. We'd be paying premium prices for it, investing huge amounts in research and developments. It would be revered as our elixir. But unfortunately, the reality is quite different. We as societies are actually becoming increasingly disengaged from the arts. If you look back a few centuries, everybody was involved every day, singing, dancing, telling stories. Arts was a natural part of everyday life. But we've taken this ubiquitous human behaviour and we've commodified it. We've turned it into a luxury. Many folk arts practices are disappearing. And the traditions that used to bring us together to participate in the arts in many communities are fading from memory. The engagement we do have is increasingly passive, so playlists that we'll plug into but then zone out from.
But when I saw that my grandfather Shahid, his first passport that was issued for him in 1932 when he won a very difficult to win place to be one of the few Indian cadets to come to Sandhurst every year. And in that passport, his national status is recorded as British subject by birth. And when I saw these words in the actual passport in black and white, I thought, here's this man who never lived in the UK other than the 18 months he spent at Sandhurst, 1932 to 33. So I never thought of him as in any way British. He was, as far as I was concerned, born Indian, became Pakistani, died in Pakistan. And when I saw British subject by birth, I thought, actually, I'm the granddaughter of British subjects, and probably the great-granddaughter, depending on how far you want to trace this back in terms of British rule in India. So the strange thing is, in writing this book about South Asia and about people who are not British, at least not British as I saw them, I think I ended up feeling more British as a result, or certainly feeling that the connection to this country goes back more generations than I had imagined.
Yes, we went much further back than you intended to, going back to great grandparents as well.
And he said, what you don't understand, what they, and I guess that means Guardian readers, BBC watchers, don't understand, listeners, what you don't understand is that we love England. We hate the people, we hate the fucking French more than we hate the people in the 4 small boats. And that was like a light coming on for me. I've let you down. I don't think we've told you the truth. So the operation in the Channel is one of the great search and rescue operations of all time. It's second only to Dunkirk in our history. We have got tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people across that desperate piece of sea with its extraordinary tides and its ships and its weathers in safety. And when we've landed them, I asked them what that was like. And they said, it's wonderful. The best thing was the sausages. That was the best moment of their lives was seeing the Union Jack on the side of the Border Force boat. Those boats aren't designed to pick people up. They're designed to patrol. Border Force are using unfit boats, basically. The RNLI said I couldn't go out with them, despite my relationship with them, because they said we sometimes were so busy we have no space on the deck, and we don't even count them.
Societies anoint exceptional people as geniuses to demonstrate what they value. We call some people special to demonstrate what we find special, and in turn we give those special people latitude that is not extended to ordinary mortals. We have a set of stories about what geniuses are and how they work and how singular their achievements are, stories that are often entirely untrue. That's more than myth, that's untruth.
Yeah, and sometimes they really are untrue. So I'm just writing a piece for the Atlantic about Charles Darwin and Galapagos. I was in Galapagos last week, and it's really interesting that almost everything that is thought of in the popular imagination about Darwin and Galapagos falls apart on close inspection. So they have these things called Darwin's finches, and supposedly he notices the difference in the beaks and that they evolved in different islands. Actually, you go back and read the diaries from the Beagle. When Darwin was collecting his bird specimens, he didn't separate them into different islands at all. He had just had the archipelago, and it took Fitzroy, the captain of the Beagle, who had actually separated them all out. It took a couple called Peter and Rosemary Grant, who did really the best work on those finches in the last half century.
You couldn't get divorced online, and now you can, but you still have to go once just to check. And see someone. Thanks to digital ID, you can file papers, as I say, for marriage and for divorce. Tax returns are filled out roughly how long?
10 minutes.
7 minutes. It's reckoned that e-government has saved 2% of GDP, the size of what used to be the average European defence budget, and gives people an extra week's holiday a year. But most importantly, it's about giving citizens a stake, building trust, and citizens own their data and they can see who is looking at their data. It turns on its head, and that was so exciting to me, the relationship between state and individual.
Exactly. I think the analogy I often use is that I imagine having 4 vastly different people in my car And I just want to tell them one thing about the music just before it starts, and that's the idea of that. But this is a book that very much came from radio, from presenting the weekday breakfast show at that point, and just realising that there was music that was really ticked on a particular day or date or time of the year, and really believing there was something in that.
Well, and I have really enjoyed reading this book, and at the end I'll, hope that what we, through our conversation, may excite everybody else, because I think it's really interesting, and it really brings the music alive. But the first thing I wanted to ask you was why, what got you into wanting to write about the Vivaldi Four Seasons? And you must tell everybody about the conversation with the London taxi driver, because I thought that was hilarious.
True story. No, I mean, as I say, wanted to write something about seasonal listening. I thought, as we explore music for a particular day, there's something that's really grounding about that. And I think seasonal listening more widely, we all do it. We listen to Christmas carols, you look forward to that starting. It's like, when's the first Christmas pop song going to play on the radio? When's it? And they are touchstones to the year. And I think that they actually exist throughout the year, and we could tap into that more, and it might make us feel a bit more grounded and look forward to things in different ways.
And citizens' assemblies are a way to start healing the social divisions that we have. They're a way to start bringing cohesion, because when we talk to one another, when we debate ideas, when we think about evidence together, we can come to sensible conclusions. We rely on jurists to do it in our criminal justice system, and we could rely on it for other kinds of decision making.
And it's about the real Dr. Asperger. Dr. Asperger was an actual person, and he was there in the 1930s in Vienna. And he worked for a place called the Curative Education Ward, which was in the Vienna Children's Hospital. And that ward is rather extraordinary. It was years ahead of its time. It was incredibly creative in trying to help children with challenges. And the staff there were amazingly forward-thinking and caring in a way that was totally untypical at the time. I mean, in the 1930s, not just in the countries that became the Reich, but everywhere, the attitude to children with challenges was really terrible. I mean, starving children to get them to do what you wanted was pretty common practice everywhere. And the ward was completely different to that. And so there they were doing this work, and they dealt with children with all sorts of different challenges, actually. But they were beginning to notice something particular about certain children, and basically they were kind of on the road to trying to begin to understand autism. And so there was all this inspiring work going on, but unfortunately this was the 1930s in Vienna.
It's like, what are you doing mowing your lawn when there are bombs raining down? But again, researching Vienna, people are going to get their hair done, and they're kind of, worrying about their shoes and all these things. And I think the most moving thing was, through my research, I managed to meet a man who could remember this period, and there were obviously very few people left. He was about 13 or 14, and he was Jewish, and he was in Vienna when the Nazis came into the city. And I was talking to him about it, and he said to me, what you have to understand is that the human being is not designed to be frightened all of the time. And I thought he was so accurate, because actually there are things in our own lives at the moment that are pretty frightening. And it is that thing that we read something or whatever, we think, oh my God, I'm really frightened about this. And then we just think, oh, well, I've got to get the kids to school or get the supper on the table. And that thing of how people's lives continue. And that's so important as well, because on the one hand, distraction is appalling, because we should not be distracted from big and important things that are going on. But it's a double-edged sword, because actually distraction also saves us. We need that everyday life to keep on happening. And yes, even in the worst times, people do continue, and that's part of what's happening to Adeline. She's worrying about sorts of things that teenage girls worry about.
But in terms of actually changing my opinions, I think this Canadian sponsorship example and other aspects changed my views on immigration. Not because I went from being pro to anti or anti to pro, because those are ridiculous things anyway, because nobody wants a system where any murderer or rapist or fraudster can walk into your country and there are no border checks. At the same time, I assume nobody wants to be like North Korea. So therefore, you're already in the realms of what is the nature of the level, what are the criteria, and what are the issues of control. So what does that mean? It means, and the penny did drop with me, that immigration is not an issue of principle. It's an issue of good organisation.
So it's called Woodbury Common, 31st of the 12th, 2001. And trees shadow our low horizon. The year's last dusk deepens yellow. My dad is sketching. He looks up, assesses distance with one eye closed, an outstretched pencil measuring scale. Our dog frisks haphazard through gorse. We remember he sniffed out a lone commando once, lying stiff in thick bracken. The man held silence, but a slobbered lick on the face let fly a host of hot sputterings. Outmanoeuvred by a Labrador, not even his gun could save him from a surprise attack of joy. It's getting dimpsy, says Dad. I yawn, taste Devonshire in the air. He brought me here to find quiet, away through the latest noise. His picture will hang on the wall of my next house, and the next. A new year companions the old. We gather ourselves, head home.
This is me expressing love to you. Knowledge to me is wearisome from books. I learn much more from words and looks. So give me yourself, as clear as earth and rain, and I shall think, and I shall drink, and I'll bring you flowers again. Thanks for listening. Let's listen to Sarah Jane announce the winner.
So, the winner of the Flash Fiction Slam 2026 is Gagandeep Kaur.
After I retired, my wife said, find a hobby. I found Facebook instead. When I took notes from people who grew up in the same place. This one was Scarborough in the 80s. We had lived there when I was young before we came back to England. Mostly it was all photographs and bad spellings. Closed cinemas, school uniforms, people arguing in the comments about which chip shop had the best window. Same arguments 40 years later. I used to check it at night after my wife slept, sitting in the dark with my phone like an idiot. One evening, someone posted a photo outside the mall on Kingston Road. Teenagers at the entrance, coats half zipped, snow grown grey at the curb, and there she was, nearly out of frame, Helen Cross. 40 years, but I know her from the way she held her hat. I was always at Helen's house back then. Her mother made tea whether you asked or not. Her little brother fell asleep in the front of the telly every single night. Her sister stole biscuits from the tin and blamed the dog every single time. Some nights I slept on their sofa under a knitted blanket that smelled of washing powder, lying there listening to footsteps upstairs, door closing, someone laughing in the kitchen, thinking, so this is what it's supposed to be like. Helen wanted to see my house. I never let her. A father who shouted, a mother who vanished for days and came back saying nothing, doors with holes punched through them, sleeves always too short at the wrist. She used to say, that is not you. I was not so sure about that. When she left for Vancouver, I told her we wanted different things. Very calm, very reasonable. I just wanted to go first. After I saw the photo, I looked her up. Wrong profiles, wrong people, then one with no picture, hardly anything on it. Only 3 photos. A garden, a sitting room, and me. 17, asleep on her sofa, arms thrown over my face, that blanket pulled up to my chest. Posted 12 years ago. The caption said, still here. I sat there until the screen went dark on its own. Then I put my finger on my reflection in the black glass, like I was trying to wake someone up.
This event more than most, to be honest. I hope you all have fun writing it. I know the tyranny of the blank page is hard, and so is cleaning. Actually, I'd rather write than clean, although possibly not in His Lordship's castle. But thank you all for it. Keep writing. It gets, I don't think it gets easier, but you learn. The more you do it, the more you learn. The more tools and you have at your disposal, and you go deeper into it, and it does get fun. It does get more fun. It does get even better. So whatever you're doing, for whatever reasons, and whoever else is doing it, maybe thinking about joining you next year. Do just put your bum on the seat, put pen to paper. You're hurting no one, and you could end up really, really enjoying yourself and creating something rather lovely. Thank you.
So my dog, beautiful, lovely, friendly dog, had what I consider to be a kind of attachment disorder. And it would just go up to strangers and go, "Oh, you're amazing! Oh, wow, you and me, whoa, yes, yes! Yeah, I love you." I'm translating, that's what it would do to strangers. And it had, I kind of had a nose for people that really didn't want to know, didn't want any contact with it. So this poem's called "You're Not My Dog," and it's got two voices. There's a woman, actually there's a brilliant illustration, you probably can't see it. There's a woman just walking forward like this, nose in the air, does not want anything to do with this incredibly enthusiastic dog jumping up and saying things to her. You'll know when it's her, because she says, "You're not my dog," that's all she says. At different levels. You're not my dog. But I could be, I would be if you'd have me, I'd be your very good boy, I would. You're not my dog. We could do such things together, we could though, couldn't we? I'm not even a dog person. Amazing, that's my favourite, nor am I. I'm a people puppy, a really good boy. Am I a good boy? I am. And I'm yours. You're not my dog. I love the way you say that, it's so funny. It's the best fun ever being your dog. You're not my dog! Love it. You're the best owner I've ever had, ever.
For the most part, men and women scratching their heads, wondering about the meaning of life, wondering where to find love, telling stories. They said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, just like cavemen and women did thousands of years ago around the fires outside their caves. We're still doing the same thing." And it's absolutely wonderful and reassuring. And I also promised myself that I wouldn't say this, so I better not say it. Yeah, thanks. But the men authors have been fantastic this week. The women authors have been absolutely amazing. And that must be said because they were absolutely brilliant. And when we have a round of applause, it will be as much for them, it will be for my helpers, and it will be for all of you who've come to the Swindon Festival of Literature in its 33rd years. Until we meet again, please keep well, and I hope we'll meet again. But now, let's end as we began, with the mournful sound of the watering can.